Invocation will be Patrick David Kays, pastor of the Virginia Beach Christian Church, Disciples of Christ. Welcome.
Divine One, your creative spirit whispered to the deep and ordered chaos. Pour out that spirit upon our scattered hearts and minds. Your spirit of wisdom calls out from inundated street corners. Open us to her proclamations. Your spirit of abundance has provided a bounty. Inspire us to the possibilities of a just stewardship and an ever-gracious community, so that we might truly embrace with all our persons the opportunities of this moment, thus glorifying you in thought, in word, and in deed. Amen.
Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have a roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. All present excluding Councilmember Berlucci, who is out of town for a family obligation.
Okay, thank you. Could I have a motion for the certification of the closed session?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, votes open.
By a vote of 10-0, you certified the closed session to be in accordance with the motion to recess.
Okay, could I have a motion to approve the minutes of the informal and formal sessions of November 9th, 2021?
So moved.
Second.
Votes open.
By a vote of 10-0, you've approved the minutes as submitted.
Okay, now we have a mayor's presentation, and this is going to be a good one. We're going to have the VB Gold Medal Finalist Award, and we're going to ask Darrell Crittenden of Norfolk P&R Director and member of the American Academy for Parks and Recreation Administration to come forward. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Good.
Oh, you're smiling today, aren't you? Hey, welcome, sir.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Mr. Manager. Bring you greetings not only from Norfolk, but from the American Parks and Recreation Administration Academy. My name is Darrell Crittenden. I'm representing the Academy tonight to present to you your Finalist Gold Medal Award. I'm very pleased to say that the Gold Medal Award is probably the most prestigious award in Parks and Recreation, and you ought to be very proud of your department. Virginia Beach truly represents the best of the best. Since the award's inception in 1965, within their population category, there's only been 275 agencies named a Gold Medal finalist. So that is definitely a significant accomplishment. You have demonstrated significant success with the design and delivery of superior services to the community. The Virginia Beach Parks and Recreation is now the upper echelon of 8,000 plus park and recreation agencies across the nation. As I said before, this is the most coveted award. Not too many agencies actually win this award or even become a finalist. There have been agencies that have tried 8 to 10 times before they finally won. Michael Kirschman, this is his first time applying. He's already a finalist. So he's doing an outstanding job. And you know, your department has a long tradition of leadership. I could even go back to people like Susie Walston, Sarah Hensley, Cindy Curtis, Michael Calvert, and now Michael Kirschman. They have all provided very strong and long-standing tradition of providing life-changing experiences for its citizens. So I won't prolong this. Mayor Dyer, if you'd come up, Director Kirschman, I'd like to formally present to you your Gold Medal Finalist Award this evening.
Cool. Very nice.
Hey, welcome to the beach.
Thank you, sir.
You got it.
Way to go, Michael.
Appreciate it. Mary's gonna get a quick picture.
Get a big wall for that.
All right.
Thank you, Mary.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Good to see you. We'll do breakfast at the egg one time.
Sounds good, sir.
You got it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Crittenton, but let me just say that this is just another sterling example of why Virginia Beach is considered one of the most livable cities in the nation. A lot of people live here, 460,000 people. We are blessed with an ocean, we're blessed with rec centers, we're blessed with trails and bikeways and a quality of life. And we welcome our friends from Norfolk because we are part of a great community. Thank you and welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All righty. Public hearing, lease of city property, 186 plus or minus acres of city-owned farmland on Indian River Road and North Landing Road to Land of Promise Farms Partnership.
We have one speaker, Barbara Messner.
Good evening,
Good
Mayor
evening.
Dyer. Okay, if I'm not mistaken, this was on the agenda before, but I oppose the leasing of city property. And often, like the 31st Street Park, it was leased and then it was sold for only like $3 million. So there isn't good management of our funds. Listening to the speeches today by your staff, it was unbelievable. Yeah, like I said, the all-day meeting today, it's impossible to keep up with all this stuff. But, you know, the figures that they went over, you know, they bumped up the figures as if you weren't using COVID money and you weren't keeping the beach open. The beach was open. So all the figures are off and, okay. That's all I'm gonna say right now.
Thank you. Okay. The next item up is appropriation of $567,492,850 for flood mitigation projects authorized by referendum.
We have two speakers, Barbara Messner, and after Ms. Messner is Chandra Shinnabarger.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Okay. I don't see how you can appropriate this first phase, $567 million. Not only did I just get some of the FOIA on what was spent, but you hired the Jacobs firm in Cincinnati, Ohio, for 8 months to work on this at a cost of at least $1,779,273. This page is their travel expenses, submit reimbursable expenses, Jacobs travel expenses, Young consulting expenses, Compass consulting expenses, S.E. Wells communication expenses, Jacobs non-travel expenses. I still don't have, it was redacted. You know how much we spent on TV advertising? It's kind of hard because everything was redacted. You know, it's after the fact. They've already been paid. It's over. We should know who the money went to and how much went to the television stations. You know, as stated, this is a 95, 50-year plan, and I think I heard one of your spokespersons, one of your staff saying that it was like a 20-year deal. Our taxes are going to be going for 20 years, and none of this stuff is going to be fixed. So, you know, no one seems to be, you know, they talk a lot about management of our money and our infrastructure. but it's all smoke and mirrors and grandstanding at special times. Thank you.
The next speaker is Chandra Shinnabarger.
Good evening.
Hello, thanks. My name is Chandra Shinnabarger, and I live in the Princess Anne Plaza neighborhood. I just wanted to comment and make a suggestion regarding the $567 million of flood mitigation money. Having lived in Virginia Beach for 40 years, we never used to have flooding a couple decades ago, and since then, I have seen many acres and miles of forest removed. Actually, the neighborhood I grew up in Kempsville, they lost not one, but 5 or 6 forests around that area since the 90s. And I wanted to point out that currently, only hours after this $567 million referendum passed, we have at least 2 more forests on the chopping block. And actually, the third one was lost. I don't know if it's already gone, but in the Sandbridge area. And coming soon, there's one by Haynes that's on the chopping block, and then there's another one coming soon where somebody wants to pave a forest that filters the fumes from I-264, and it's off Rosemont Road. And I just wanted to point out that the mature trees are, and they need to be considered they're a valuable flood mitigation asset, and we can capitalize on the trees. What they do is they actually regulate water cycles. They absorb a lot of water, and it's not the same as a retention pond. They actually affect weather patterns. And when you have more trees, that means a lighter rainfall and a little more often rain. And then when you have more pavement and less trees, that means there's less often rain, but more violent torrential downpours and more flooding. So I just wanted to make a suggestion, and don't laugh because I know you all have developer toners, but if you had a building ordinance, and there's other ways to look out for developer friends, I promise. But anyway, a building ordinance to replace over 100% of the trees, because when you take out a mature tree, that's the equivalent of about a dozen saplings. So to try to, and actually Norfolk has already done this, and I always like to think we were better than Norfolk, but I don't know how they got ahead of us on this one. But anyway, they recently passed a building ordinance to keep the trees, where they're going to be adding like 5,000 trees a year for quite a while. But anyway, I just wanted to suggest that would be more responsible in conjunction with this $567 million if we also addressed keeping trees and adding more, and being careful with the development. As a matter of fact, some of these studies were also pointed out this came from Virginia Beach Stormwater. They're wonderful. They come to my Civic League meetings every month, and they've actually found and shown the rainfall patterns. They've actually looked closely at them, and there has been increased amounts of rainfall. And I just wanted to point that out. So hopefully that we can make something like that happen. That would be wonderful. And we also need to keep the forests.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
That's all the speakers, sir.
All righty. Okay, at this point, the speaker's policy, I want to remind everyone that the City Council speaker policy that allows certain representatives of groups to speak for 10 minutes applies only to planning items. All other speakers, whether speaking individually or on behalf of a group, will have 3 minutes to speak. Speakers are reminded that comments during the formal portion of the meeting must be limited to the subject of the item that is being considered by the council at the time you are called. When speakers are called on each item, the clerk will call those individuals who have signed up. We have several items with only one speaker signed up. As such, the city clerk will call the speaker and identify each item that they have been registered on. The speaker will receive 3 minutes to comment on each item. Again, the speaker must limit his or her comments to the subject matter of the items that they have signed up to address. Finally, I call upon all speakers and all persons in the chamber to be civil in their discussion and decorum. Whatever views you hold and wish to express, the City Council wants to hear from you, and to ensure that all viewpoints and all persons are respected. The best way to do this is for all of us to strive for civility and respect. Madam Clerk, if you can call the first speaker.
Barbara Messner.
I didn't sign up early, so I assume there just aren't other people signed up. Is that
The-
correct?
The first one, number 1.
Okay, because like I said, I didn't sign up early. Okay, J1?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ordinance to authorize issuance of general obligation public improvement bonds. Maximum amount, this is maximum amount for the first phase, $567,500,000. 21 flood mitigation projects approved by referendum. I mean, when you're spending $2 million for an outside firm to advertise and you do it for 9 months and you have the media on your side, you know, it's almost impossible. You know, some of the other items that were mentioned, which I brought up before, because I don't believe in recalling one person or attempts to recall one person, that y'all are going 20% over budget, you know, which is malfeasance. Everyone that votes for that, that's malfeasance. But y'all aren't worried because there's no media to cover it, you know, everything else going on. So I'm opposed for you. We're the ones that are paying for all of this advertising, everything you do, plus the city staff. You know, access. Maybe that's why Mr. Berlucci isn't here, because, you know, all these ads he's doing, you know, they do videos of him, you know, promoting vibe districts, diversity, disparity. We all pay these taxes. Some people pay more than others. So I'm in opposition, and I'm just going on the record to tell you I'm in opposition because we shouldn't be paying for this, and nothing's going to get fixed. That woman was talking about the trees and everything. Ms. Henley's talking about planting, you know, replanting trees, raising roads. Okay, is that it for this one?
No, so number 2.
Okay. Appropriate 567 $1,492,850 for comp flood mitigation projects. You know, money doesn't go on trees, and if it did, it would all be gone because you chop them all down. An entire square mile of woods next to Mount Olive Baptist Church. It's so sad to go by that church, you know, where we used to be able to vote and park there. I mean, all the businesses, you know, some businesses go belly up, and others like Chick-fil-A and all the others, they're making a killing. Excuse me, but that's where some of this money is coming in, because you allow some people to be open and others to be closed. And it should be illegal for these businesses that you're approving for all these drive-throughs, like 300 cars or 30 cars a minute, to require that people drive through, you know, and they have to use apps or something. You're restricting, you know, so many people from being involved. Okay.
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay.
Ma'am.
And after this one, I'm going to hand the Hatch Act to, which I forgot to give you last time, to Ms. Barnes, and the lighting ordinances, because everything revolves around taking care of our infrastructure, which this councilman ran on in 2011. You know, driving here, it's pitch dark. You know, there's been some improvement with some of the roads being paved, but when you can't see at night and they haven't painted the white lines, could you, Mr. Dyer, who does respond, and I appreciate it, you do the best you can, could they please turn on more of the lights or put portable lights and put the white lines there so we can see? It's a safety issue. Okay. 3?
So that started a while ago, yes.
Okay, so where are we?
3 is where you're at
Okay.
now.
Amend the city code to freeze the equivalent residential unit ERU fee until 2028. You're not removing it, and all that money coming from Northam for the, to save money on the tolls, if that COVID money really was to help people, we wouldn't be paying tolls. We wouldn't be paying anything. It wouldn't all be going to private developers. Okay, 4,
Number 4, yes, ma'am.
establish a financial plan for the $567,500,000 of general obligation bonds approved by referendum for the comprehensive flood mitigation. It's to mitigate. It's not to fix anything. Nothing's been fixed. You just keep building and building and building. It's really insane, but not enough people pay attention, or they don't care. They don't realize that these potholes, one day their cars could just sink in one of these sinkholes. Okay, 5.
Yes, ma'am, number 5.
Resolution to establish a citizen oversight board for bonds approved for flood mitigation. Why are you appointing all of these people? It is your job. You vote on it, it's your job. And you shouldn't be liaisons on all these projects that you approve and have conflicts. Like all these mixed-use things, projects that certain people who work for Howard Hanna and sell real estate at the beach, they shouldn't be voting on these things. Okay. 6.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And the people that give me a hard time that don't show up, they can go fly a kite, because if you don't take the time to come here, don't give me your input. Okay, resolution regarding the acquisition strategy for projects approved by bond referendum. Acquisition strategy. So I assume that means acquiring property for whatever you plan to do. But the jet fuel spill, the sewage spill, none of that stuff's been cleaned up. It's been since 2016. Okay. Ordinance to authorize the city manager. Good evening, Mr. Dehaney.
How you doing, Ms. Master?
Sending notes to your friends in Cincinnati? Sorry. Sorry. I cannot resist this.
Which item, Ms. Messner, are you on?
8.
Thank you.
8, thank you. Ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute a lease extension to Land of Promise Farms Partnership for 1 year for city-owned farmland located on Indian River Road and North Landing Road. The city should not be in the real estate business. And Ms. Wilson, who does have a real estate license, has conflicts on most of these. And I don't know if many people are aware of how much land that y'all have leased and sold that we could be making money on. We could be making money on the convention center. And all these events. If you had events at an indoor venue, then our police, fire, and rescue wouldn't be, babysitting, maybe 1 or 2, but you could contain it. Okay, 9,
Yes, ma'am.
Declare November 15th through December 15th as Buy Local Month, requested by Ms. Wooten. You know, we're all local, we all pay taxes. To declare a month, you've declared months, you know, the fundraiser for VB Strong, you're still taking money for that. And I'm going to take the time, since I have it, to read the names of these people, because Donovan Lynch and all these people, where were they? Why are they want justice now, but they didn't want justice for these people? Christopher Kelly Rapp, Catherine Nixon, Alexander Gusev, Michelle Missy Langer, Mary Louise Gale, Robert Bobby Williams, Tara Welch Gallagher, Richard Nettleton, Joshua Hardy, Lakita Brown, Ryan Cox, and Robert Snelling. And Mr. Cox should have a real sign, just like the one you have for Myra Obendorf and everyone else. There should be a real sign that says, you know, to honor him. Okay?
Number 11.
Okay, resolution to approve the city's participation in the proposed settlement of opioid-related claims. You know, if our police were allowed to do their job and patrol, and, you know, we could have gotten rid of crime a long time ago. There's been drug trafficking in the city for a long time, and some of the actual developers who were convicted in the late 80s and 90s are involved in your deals. You know, when there's problems at the top, there's problems at the bottom. It's really sad, because when I've lived here 40 years, and this used to be a really fun, happy place, and people were safe. You know, when you give all the money to the developers, and then they fund your campaigns, it's not pretty. It really isn't a pretty sight. Okay.
Number 12.
Right. I'm still on that one because I didn't use the full 3 minutes, but
Right.
you let the vape stores and the pot stores and all that stay open during the pandemic. And the ABC stores and all the alcohol. I mean, you know, people are stressed, and then, you know, it's all because of how the city's run. We could have helped a lot more people instead of helping the wrong people. Okay, Ordinance 12, to extend the date for satisfying the conditions of various right-of-ways adjacent to an assemblage of dome site property. Many of you know that myself and other people, not as many as there should have been fighting the different incarnations of the dome site, and it's tied to Town Bank and Venture. In the city, some of these bonds that you're proposing and that you have are to Town Bank and Bank of America, Mr. Jones. I mean, the money, you know. Okay, so, yeah, it was the dome site, and then you had that wavy thing for a dome because it's historic landmark, but now it's morphed into something else. It's also Public-Private Education Act, and there was a letter on file from Troutman Sanders, you know, on how to use this for developers. 2002, sports centers, arena, field houses, rec centers, the Taj Mahal rec centers, it's coming out of education money. And you're also taking away the parking lots. Those are municipal parking lots. And one of the new young people covering this, she's standing right in front of the one on 18th Street that I take a picture of all the time that says closed and it has a gate across it. I mean, there's so many parking scams. But this is for Pharrell, an entertainment venue. I mean, this is ridiculous. He's not paying for it. He was given $250,000 for the something in the water. You know what would be great at that site? How about a rec center and a YMCA and a boys club and a girls club? When are you going to invest in the kids? And, why haven't, with all the time you've been coming, Mr. Rouse, there's a lot more that you and your partners at Something in the Water could be doing for our youth instead of having, fundraisers where the citizens pay. How many of y'all pay for all these, food bank things, clothing things? Okay. 13?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Like I said, hello to all the people sitting at home. I don't know if you sat through all the school board, but I do appreciate the fact that it was televised from Building 19, even closed caption. Even though it wasn't a large enough venue for, like, the convention center, so more people could attend and have parking. Okay, 13. Ordinance to appropriate only $4,090 to the 21-22 Emergency Medical Services EMS operating budget. Reimburse auction proceeds to the Sandbridge Volunteer Rescue Squad. I mean, why is that even on here, that small amount? Okay. Ordinance to accept 14 and appropriate $1.5 million from the Virginia Department of Transportation, Vdot, State of Good Repair / Primary Extension Program to Capital Project 100401, Street Reconstruction, Paving Projects. There is nothing good repair about the roads in Virginia Beach. They're dangerous. I mean, you turn on TV every day and, there's horrific crashes. People are dying on their roads. And it is criminal negligence not to take care of our infrastructure. And then to want, to use COVID money and all this money coming from the newest governor who, Okay. 15?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ordinance to accept and appropriate from FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency,
God bless you.
to the 21-22 Fire Department operating budget for the mobilization and costs related for Virginia Task Force 2 Urban Research and Rescue. Ordinance to accept and appropriate, here it is down here. $47,918 protective apparel, $64,788 tropical cyclone Henry, $814,071.20 tropical cyclone Ida. I don't know, and I heard that, Mr. Moss brought up, some of the questions that I asked here, but you never replied to me at home about, you know, how many people pay their taxes on their automobiles. It was astounding, the numbers that were mentioned. I don't think antique cars should be exempt from stickers and taxes. And the firemen, they're worked to death. You know, and they've been asking since 2018, you know, for better benefits, pay compression, all of that. And then they have to travel out of town. How do their staff keep up? Because, you know, I've been listening to, you know, how many departments are depleted, you know, since the mass shooting. It's not because of COVID. That's part of it. Most of it's after the mass shooting. And the toxic environment. It's not just toxic to some people, it's toxic to everyone. Okay, 16?
No, ma'am, that's.
No, that's it.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Vice Mayor, if you can kindly do the consent agenda.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Ordinances, resolutions, number 1 is the ordinance to authorize the issuance of general obligation public improvement bonds in the maximum amount of $567,500,000 regarding 21 flood mitigation projects approved by referendum. Number 2 is the ordinance to appropriate $567,492,850 for comprehensive flood mitigation projects. Number 3 is the ordinance to amend section 32.5 of the city code to freeze the equivalent residential unit, the ERU fee, until 2028. Number 4 is the resolution to establish a financial plan for the $567,500,000 of general obligation bonds approved by referendum for comprehensive flood mitigation. Number 5 is the resolution to establish a citizen oversight board for bonds approved for flood mitigation. Number 6 is the resolution regarding the acquisition strategy for projects approved by bond referendum. Number 7, we're pulling. Number 8 is the ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute a lease extension for Land of Promise Farms partnership for 1 year for the city-owned farmland located on Indian River Road and North Landing Road. Number 9 is the resolution to declare November 15th to December 15th, 2021 as buy local month as requested by Councilmember Wooten. Number 10, we are pulling. Number 11 is the resolution to approve the city's participation in the proposed settlement of the opioid-related claims. Number 12 is the ordinance to establish the date for satisfying the condition regarding various rights of way adjacent to the assemblage of the dome site property at A, portion of the south side of 20th Street between Pacific and Arctic Avenues, B, portion of the south side of 20th Street between Arctic and Baltic Avenues, C, portion of the west side of Arctic Avenue between 19th and 20th Streets, D, 19th Street between Pacific and Arctic Avenues, and E, all alleys within the block surrounded by Arctic and Baltic Avenue and 19th and 20th Streets. Number 13 is the ordinance to appropriate $4,090 to the FY 21-22 Emergency Medical Services EMS operating budget regarding reimburse auction proceeds in the Sandbridge Volunteer Rescue Squad, Inc. Number 14 is the ordinance to accept and appropriate $1.5 million from the Virginia Department of Transportation, Vdot State of Good Repair, Primary Extension Program to Capital Project number 100401, Street Reconstruction regarding the road paving projects. And number 15 is the ordinance to accept and appropriate from FEMA to the FY 2021-22 Fire Department operating budget for the mobilization and cost related for Virginia Task Force 2 Urban Search and Rescue Team. A is $47,918 regarding protective apparel. B is $64,788.15 regarding Tropical Cyclone Henri. C is $814,071.26 regarding Tropical Cyclone Ida. I move to approve, sir.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And Mr. Moss, you have a
Did you
comment.
mention my abstention on item 11?
Not.
I just want to make sure that's the one dealing with.
Yes, number 11, Mr. Moss is abstaining.
I have
Thank
one
you.
other discussion on it. I just wanted to mention to the public, since this is something how we are following through on what we said we would do relative to the bond referendum. So everything we said we were going to do in that resolution, we are adopting tonight. And the reason why I had several people ask why we're appropriating and authorizing the full amount, because that is the only way we can have an effective acquisition strategy, because otherwise the marketplace can't count on the fact that this body has acted to both provide the source of funding and appropriate it, so the manager can't obligate. So that's going to allow us to effectively go out and acquire companies to do the work. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I'm abstaining on item 11 because I'm an investor in Vanguard Health Select. There's a whole bunch of companies in that, so I'm uncertain how much of my dividend would be coming from them. So on the safe side, I'm abstaining, and I have a letter on file.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, the vote is open.
By a vote of 10-0, noting Councilmember Moss's abstention on number 11, you have approved the consent agenda as read by Vice Mayor Wilson.
Oh, also, there's one other you missed, but I thought she said it. I voted no on item 10. Was that pulled? And I
That's been pulled.
I didn't, okay, I'm
So
sorry.
we have it, that wasn't part of the consent agenda.
Sorry.
Okay, we're going to go back to item 7. Ordinance to amend the city code by adding Article 4 to Chapter 27 regarding an establishment of independent civilian review board and direct actions that the furtherance thereby requested by the city council. Any speakers?
Yes, sir. The first speaker is Barbara Messner. And after Ms. Messner is Cameron Bertrand.
If you would repeat the item number, please.
Number 7.
Number 7. Okay, ordinance to amend city code adding Article 5 to Chapter 27, establish independent citizen review and direct actions in furtherance of requested by council. Independent citizen review. Yeah, I don't understand how it can be independent and you're just, it's been delayed and delayed and delayed. And why wasn't there a call for an independent review locally on the mass shooting? Why is it just now? Because Pharrell, knows some of these people? The bottom line is even the state, that's appointed by Northam. I think he appointed 10 of the people. So, usually when people get up during a meeting, they say, "Excuse me." But who was it from Cox? Gary McCullum. He's one of the few that agreed that there is a problem with.
Mrs. Messner, I know this is a
What?
very sensitive, and, I'm not going to impede your right to
Right.
speak, but, there were people that were adversely affected by this, and I'm just asking you to show due consideration to them.
Okay, do you realize that I've been adversely affected since day one from the mass shooting, and I've followed all of it? I'm just as concerned about those people as the people at the ocean front.
Yeah, I understand
Okay,
that.
right.
Thank you very much. But,
Yeah,
please.
mine is sincere.
Yeah.
Mine is for the right reasons. I wouldn't, I've been doing this since June 18th. So, as I was saying about, if you would start the clock over since you got up and left.
No, you had your time is almost.
No, I know, but you interrupted me and you were talking to me. If it's somebody else, it would be different.
No, it wouldn't be Miss Messner. No.
I can sleep at night.
The next speaker is Cameron Bertrand. I apologize. And then Jay Boone will be next.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for coming up and speaking and sharing. And I thank you all for gathering here today. I think that it's very important that we show a bit more compassion for the citizens of your city, the people that voted you into office. Just wanted to reiterate that. My name is Cameron Bertrand. I'm the CEO of Violence Intervention and Prevention, VIP LLC. I'm a mental health counselor. I'm a sociologist, criminologist, and I'm also a family friend and advocate for Donovan Wayne Lynch. And Mr. Wayne is here today. I think it's important to note that the Citizen Review Board that we also fought very hard for, that I'm not sure why we're still at the point where we're still discussing and meeting and having to come in and advocate for something that's been needed for far too long. There are many things within this board that was formulated that I think it's important to note that we still need this. We need something. We're so at the point where we have families that are still grieving, that are still fighting. And the Donovan Wayne Lynch Foundation has been created to create something that took so long to get you all to just agree on. And that's what you all were put here to do, and it's bigger than us. It's bigger than everybody in these seats. It's bigger than the people in this room. We have people who are losing their lives and families that deserve more transparency than we receive. And it's kind of conflicting to see that there are so many things within the roots of what has been formed that kind of contradicts the fact of it being independent. The city manager has a lot of leverage within how this was formulated, the board directors that are appointed, and different things that were highlighted within this Citizen Review Board. But what's most important to note is that there are families here fighting for a legacy, fighting for justice, and we need to see a lot more than what we've seen within the leadership sitting right here. We need something different because there's so much more that we need, and when we're talking about the legislative power and the ethnocentric mindset we've been seeing, where we've been having to fight and get a super selective vote, we have to get at least 8 of those 11 members to actually vote to get subpoena power. That's going to make it really hard to do the investigative work that they're trying to get done. These people were appointed by I'm not sure who. I believe the city council helped pick that board. Is that correct?
Yes.
The people in this room should have been picking that board. The people in this city should have been picking that board. And these are the things that we're seeing the city losing time and time again, while we're still looking for answers. We're looking for support. We're looking for healing. We're looking for all the resources that we are putting you all in position to bring to these families. Please do not forget that what this is about. So many of you all will leave these seats and leave this room, and you may or may not be able to change something outside of what your position is, outside of what your seat is. But do not forget, there are families that we see every day. And you spoke and you interrupted her, but there are people here that come here to do those things for the right reasons.
Thank you very much, sir.
All right? So I want, again, please do the right thing to not only uplift, but make sure that y'all see within the root of that independent board that we need a lot more than what was created. Do not blame the people for the shortcomings of what that Citizen Review Board was put in place to do, because it could do so much more.
Thank you very much.
We have to build more on that.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Jay Boone. After Ms. Boone is Andrew Jackson.
Good evening.
Good evening. Well, I am excited that this is finally came up for vote, that we're finally here. Again, I do worry, since it's taken so long for you guys to come to a conclusion, something that was unanimously voted on by the people that you guys elected to be on this board. Either way that you vote tonight, I hope that you tell us why you voted, yes or no. I think it's important that we know our leaders and what they stand for, especially because they're elected and especially because they represent us. I think whatever decision you make on any agenda item or any decision, that you should be able to stand behind it wholeheartedly. And if you can't, then I think you should definitely figure out why you are apprehensive about telling us your position. I do hope, again, that you vote in the way of, putting this council in the Citizen Review Panel in effect. And I hope that the first thing that they look at is who is responsible for us not having any footage of the shooting on March 26th that killed Donovan Lynch and DeShayla Harris. I think it's very important that we figure out, because there was millions of dollars spent on cameras and body cameras and everything else, so that if something like this were to happen, that we would have that footage. And I think it's a disservice to not only those families, but also to the citizens of this city, for you not to do your due diligence to find out why there's no camera footage on the poles, no body camera footage, or as well as just any, just who's at fault on that part. The actual liability or the homicides are another thing. We won't get to that, but the families deserve to know what happened and why there's no footage of that. And again, you gave the police force, I think, $106 million. I would hate for them to re-spend that money on body cameras or anything from Axon if that equipment is faulty. We need to figure that out before we purchase more equipment from them. And we also need to figure out why, like, the first police officer that was on scene did not activate their body camera or didn't ignite all of the body cameras on all the police officers that were in the area that evening. And then also, again, the footage on the camera, on the light poles. When we were out there at a vigil for DeShayla, there was footage that the Wavy TV10 was able to get, but for some reason, for the homicides, there was nothing. So again, I hope that that's the first thing that is looked at if this is passed. And if not, either way, I hope that you guys will tell us why you made the stance or your decision for this panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Andrew Jackson. After Mr. Jackson is Carl Wright.
Welcome, Andrew.
Evening. Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, city manager, Mr. Stiles, and my clerk. I've been watching this, and Mayor, and you, city manager, know that. And I'm looking at this agenda. You passed a change to an ordinance, and then you said that and direct actions furtherance thereof, whatever that means. I'm assuming there's some money in there. But I would say to you, this is a we the people issue, not go behind closed doors and issues. You know, and I know, and there's some other folks in this audience that know, it's not only a plan that you had to bring a task force to get it there, because this same review thing, which is not oversight, review is not synonymous with oversight. That's the first thing. But you know, if there's a competitive plan and you're going to spend taxpayers' money, then you ought to see both plans. And you've ignored it. Specifically, you've ignored it. And I've talked to it. So now you can go ahead and assign some money, and we get the same thing. We've had a review plan for 20 years. And most of the really bad things, I don't know what they reviewed, whether the T's were crossed or the I's were dotted, but they missed a few. You specifically, Mr. Mayor, know that I investigated one of those. And there were some issues. And I'm looking at 2 more right now. There's some issues. Now, we can do this the way it should be done, or it can be an embarrassment. Because right now, it's not moving. You're going to spend money. We don't know who's going to be on this review board. Whoever is picked, how long that's going to pick, what the requirements are. But you put something here to make some changes to an ordinance, which should be done. But you haven't told us what that is. Where are you going with this? When does this board, whoever they are, going to become active? We have a problem here. It's competitive like anything else. You put out an RFP. However you want to do that, you need to look at everything that's there. And you all know this board had a task force put it together in several weeks. I've worked on this for 2+ years. I've looked at every single item in there, and I can stand here and explain mine. Let the person that does the other one explain theirs. Explanation, rationale, and what? I would suggest that at least you let the citizens know there's something else competitive. They get to see it the way you saw the other one. The other one's been, those folks have been here three times. 3 times. Now we got a task force to help them, and they're coming back again.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
The next speaker is Carl Wright, and after Mr. Wright is Gary McCollum.
Good evening, Carl.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council, everybody. I like I said the last time, I've said pretty much all I can say. I didn't expect to see Wayne here tonight. How you doing, Wayne? I haven't seen you, man. I want to send my condolences to you. I haven't had a chance to talk to you. I really do. I really want to do that, man, because I haven't had a chance to do that. And I love my sons, man. And I don't know how you standing, bro. 'Cause I'd be, you know what I'm saying? So I want to give, my condolences to you and everything. I'm 100% with you, okay? Man, let's do the right thing, man. We could play games all day long. America's changing. We can play games. Let's get this thing right. I mean, I don't know what to say. I want to commend the young people here. Do what you got to do to make it right. I've been here many times to talk to everyone. Just do what you got to do. I commend you. Been doing this 20 years. We got to get it right. Folks can sit back and get that grit on their face or whatever, but it's changing. Whether you want it to change or not, America's changing. Kids are dying. Like I said last week, the police department is safe. Regardless of whether we have 5 review boards or not, Virginia Beach Police Department is safe. It's just, it has hurt me to see how folk would stand and make excuses about, well, the police department, the police officers might leave if we put this together. Do you know what? If there's police officers in this city that don't want oversight, I don't want them on the force anyway. Because the good cops, they're going to do what they're supposed to do anyway. They're not the ones that's worried about this oversight. The good cops, the ones that really do their job, those guys not worrying about no oversight because they do their job. It's those situations where you might run into a bad person every now and then on that department that may create heartache like we have now. I have a very good confidence in our police department. I have a problem when there's an issue with folks not wanting oversight, a big problem. That's with any department. The water department, any department out here that doesn't want oversight, supervision, I have an issue with that. So I'm here to say that let's get it right, City Council, Mr. Mayor. I mean, folks, if this thing has been going on and it's festering, and we need to get it right. It's probably not perfect right now, but let's go in the right direction. That's where I am right now. I mean, I'm over it. With that said, have a good day.
Thank you.
Mr. McCollum?
Good evening.
Sir.
Well, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'm Gary McCollum, president of DoTheRightThings.org. As I said last Tuesday, we are in favor of you passing this measure tonight. But again, there are 3 items that we find troublesome. I also want to share my condolences to Wayne, who's here tonight. I've had a chance to meet with him, to Shayla's mom as well, and people are hurting. But not only are they hurting, there's a level of mistrust that still exists within certain communities and our police department. And I think the 3 suggestions that I mentioned last week, I'll mention them again tonight. First and foremost, having a board coordinator reporting into the city manager. He's a great guy, but that doesn't help us with this trust issue. It's interesting that the city auditor reports to you. You report to the citizens. It's a citizens review board. So how can we say it's an independent citizens review board if the board coordinator reports to the city manager? It's kind of like the fox watching the hen house. It doesn't instill trust in what we're doing. So that's the first issue. Second issue, this issue of subpoena power. Why not a simple majority? Why a supermajority? You're going to select this board, and I heard your comments, Councilman Henley, this afternoon. We're going to put a lot of effort in picking the right people. They're going to be some good people. I trust that you're going to pick some good people. Trust them to do their jobs. Let's not make it an impossibility to ever get a subpoena. And then thirdly, and most important, how do we make sure that this board, who you're going to pick, how do you make sure that they are able to recommend disciplinary action? Again, it's just a recommendation. That's all it is. So I think the issue we're talking about, it's a great first step. I've said that, and Mr. Mayor, I saw you in a newscast today saying the same thing. I agree with you, or maybe you agreed with me. It is a good first step.
How about mutual?
Mutual. It's a great first step. But we got some work to do. We got to figure out why in the world should we not have this treated just like an auditor, where truly the citizens are providing oversight. Again, the citizens, we hire you. You hire the board coordinator. We'll put them in the auditor's office. But having them report to the city manager, that's not going to instill the kind of trust that we want. And so with that, again, I hope that you're going to vote in favor of this tonight. I hope that you will take these recommendations that we've made seriously. And I would like you to tweak that one tonight, because giving this to the city manager, that's pretty weighty. And I don't think he deserves that. I think you guys need to take on this. This is a citizens review board. The citizens, we hired you. Thank you very much.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to pass.
Move for approval.
Okay, motion and a second. We're open for a discussion. Mr. Moss.
Well, I do agree that the person that, matter of fact, I'd be in favor of the board hiring the coordinator, and obviously we're not going to do that tonight, but I think that ought to be one of the first technical corrections, just like we didn't have a Bill of Rights in the initial adoption of the Constitution, but it's the first flaw they fixed. I also believe that the legal counsel that they have should be independently hired by the board so that we don't repeat the issue we now have with the school board that we're fixing, where you have two clients, and that should be their only client, should be that board, and we should be putting our city attorney and having two masters once again where there could be a conflict of interest. So those are two things that I'm not aligned with the subpoena power piece. I'll be honest with you, so that's a difference of opinion, but those are two things that I think go a long way, and hopefully we will come back quickly to make those, if there's other people that share that view with me, we can come back and quickly make that technical correction, because I do believe it is a part of independence. Independence means independence, and we haven't quite achieved it, but I'm going to vote for the proposal, but I'm going to bring back, hopefully with some other co-sponsors, a technical correction to fix what I think are two flaws.
Okay, Mr. Rouse.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I just want to recognize Mr. Lynch. Just want to say thank you for being here. I think it takes incredible strength for you to even step foot in these chambers tonight, so I just want to say thank you for that. Also want to say thank you for your guidance as a young man back when I was in high school as well. You were a leader within this community, and I know that's something that you instilled in your son Donovan. Thank you for being here. We understand that after 6 long months that, you know, this investigation is still being investigated what happened that terrible night. But, you know, I think it's been investigated by the state police, and that's something that families requested. That's something that our police chief requested, and it's something that the community's requested as well. But tonight, our citizens are requesting oversight for the police. That's not a bad thing. I think that's something that, when that task force was first created, it was passed on a 6-5 margin, very slim margin by this body. Let's not forget that. But here we are. We heard from our community leaders, we heard from clergy, we heard from law enforcement, we heard from all the members that we appointed to this 11-body task force. And they passed all these recommendations unanimously. So as a testament to our city taking a proactive step forward, bringing some sense of trying to build trust and transparency back into with our law enforcement and our communities, especially our communities of color, I think this is the first step. It's only the first step. I want to second Mr. Moss's comments. There's some things we can fix, but let's not trip over taking the first step forward today. And I think that's something that we can do, and it's the right thing for our citizens. It's the right thing to help our families out who's been affected by that terrible night on March 26th. And it's the right thing to do for our city. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, anybody else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, okay, if I can get Mr. Tower, Ms. Wooten, and then you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to give another tip of the hat to the task force that we appointed. They've gotten some praise from other people, but I'm not sure I have. And I just want to say, particularly to Mr. Montero, who I had the privilege of nominating to be on this commission. I didn't have anything to do with his selection as chair, and I certainly didn't have anything to do with the great job that he did. He did that himself, but I want to recognize him personally and thank him for making me look good by nominating him. I, too, don't view this as a perfect resolution of all the issues. I certainly express my openness to change. I want to get it right, but I want to get it going, and that's why I'm voting yes tonight. That's why I made the motion. I appreciate all the people who are here and all the people that have followed this process from beginning to end. I think Ms. Wooten deserves a lot of credit for sticking with this thing, and and I tip my hat to her. I think this is a great step forward for our city. I think it'll turn out to be something that we can all be proud of. I certainly commit as a council member to continue to follow the progress of this legislation that we're passing tonight and make sure that it gets implemented in a way that makes us all feel like we have done what we were set out to do, which is have a police department that we're proud of, have an oversight system that works for everybody. And again, thank you for all of the people that have participated directly and indirectly in this effort. It takes a village on some things, and this was one, but I'm very proud that we got a unanimous vote to proceed, and I think we'll all be very happy with what we've done here tonight. Thank you.
Ms. Wu.
Thank you. Good evening, and I'd certainly also like to recognize Mr. Lynch for being here. You know, you have my sincere condolences in the loss of your son. Also want to thank the citizens for being here tonight to speak on this issue. As it's been mentioned that it's been a long journey, very long journey. And I would first say that I'm in agreement to changing this legislation to make sure it's truly independent, and also to address the majority that's needed for a subpoena. I hope that's something that we can address in the future. But I would like to say that, as I've said before, this is one of the most important pieces of legislation that we have voted on this year. And I say that because this legislation promotes transparency between our community and the police department. It also promotes unity and trust in our community. And so most of all, it promotes what the people have spoken for. The people asked for this. And so that alone makes this an important piece of legislation. This journey started a long time ago. For me, it was in June 2020. I left the meeting with residents who were very concerned about their loved ones, about things going on in the community, about young Black and brown people dying. And I told them at that meeting that I would go back and talk to my colleagues and let them know that this is what was needed in the community. And so I want to thank my colleagues for being open-minded. I know that at the beginning, this was not something that everybody supported, but through much deliberation, consideration, research, we all worked together and accepted the recommendations of the task force, to which I'm very appreciative to. The task force gave a lot of time and dedication to go through every specific element to provide recommendations to the council. And so, for me, this shows that council can work together to do anything. This piece of legislation and us working together to support it shows me that we can truly work together as a community, as a body, moving forward in the direction that's needed. This is a first step, but it's a mighty big step from June 2020 when this first started. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Holcomb.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. And I just want to touch on one thing, and we're talking about the subpoena power. And I'll read on page 11, such requests shall be made after all good faith attempts to obtain an interview or documentary evidence are exhausted. To make a request for a subpoena application, the board coordinator must demonstrate necessity, obtain a legal review prior to any board vote. Counsel for the board shall be retained to provide advice regarding the potential application. So the only comment I want to make to that, and I think it's important to point out that the key phrases in here are such attempt shall be made after all good faith attempts to obtain an interview or documentary evidence are exhausted. So at that point, this individual that we're trying to get to testify in front of this board could now be under a circuit court judge subpoena and could be held in contempt of court, I'm assuming, if they don't show up. So that is a double-edged sword that presents itself, that if they don't want to come in after every good faith effort and after everything's been exhausted, then I don't want somebody to get caught up in a contempt of court over the subpoena process. And the way I see it, it could very well be that, and that is certainly a conversation down the road. And we heard testimony also about the board weighing in on disciplinary action. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I do know if we have two people recommending disciplinary action, if we have the chief of police recommend one thing and the board recommend another thing, then I don't know how consistent that's going to be. If the chief comes down and says it's punishment X, Y, Z, and the board comes back with a lesser punishment, well, I'm certainly going to take the recommendation of the board with the lesser punishment. So I think it's worth the conversation, but I do think that there is some issues there that need to be addressed. But I want to echo what everybody said up here tonight, and as a law enforcement officer with 30-plus years, I'm not opposed to this, but I do think that the devil's in the details with a lot of it, and I think that we can work through it. And I think what Mr. Moss has recommended, that we can, if we have to come back and clean it up, then we certainly can. So, thank you.
Ms. Finley.
Well, I think what I've been hearing here tonight is that we are accepting the recommendations of the task force. And that's what I am voting to do. The recommendations of the task force came after a lot, what someone calculated, 800 hours of work and a lot of research, and they're specifically made for very specific reasons. And that's what I think we should be attempting to implement first. Now, certainly down the road, there may be things that need to be tweaked, but already tonight, we have heard some substantial changes that are being recommended. I think this task force was extremely competent, and I think that's what we should be trying first. If we try it and implement these things and then determine that there need to be some adjustments, but I certainly think that what we should be doing beginning tonight is what we said we're doing here, and that is accepting the recommendations of the task force. And that's what I'm voting for.
Anybody else? I just want to say, Mr. Lynch, our hearts go out to you, your family, and all the young ones, and everybody that your family touches, a community that hopefully will be coming together in a most positive way. This is the first step of a journey. and it's a positive step. And, the fact is, we did have a review force for 20 years, but it was determined by many it needed significant improvement. And that's what we are intending to do, to bolster, to get the right people, to increase the diversity of people and thoughts and minds to do the right thing. And, this is, once again, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And as we look at things, and right now, this is a new concept because it's expanding. And what we are doing by giving the city manager the option, it's like any, being a hospital administrator, when we started a new program, we have to do an evaluation about the time and effort and the amount of full-time equivalent of people we're going to need doing the work, how the work is going to be coming, operations and procedures. And I think a lot of it would be that I think the most critical step right now is picking the right people to be on this, that have that right chemistry of like-mind and spirit that would help us guide some of the decisions going forward. But as of right now, for a start, the manager is, I believe, very capable to get things rolling in the right directions. But one of the things that good, effective management does is evaluation review of how things are doing and make adjustments accordingly. But once again, I think Ms. Wooten really hit on it. I thank her for her initiatives, and in retrospect, I thought that putting together that wonderful group of people that really actually went farther and more in detail gives this initiative right now a tremendous amount of credibility going forward. And that being said, I am 100% informed of this, and be assured that we will work diligently as a council, as I'm sure our senior management will work, to make the course corrections and adjustments that are necessary to build the community. And let me just say this is a piece of a very important puzzle as we as a city, as a Commonwealth, as a nation, try to come back and build community. I really think that Virginia Beach as the template of how we can come together. We're a faith-based community of many faiths, and that is the glue that holds us together. And I think we have that advantage. And we have, the main strength of Virginia Beach are the people of Virginia Beach. And I think this is a first step in a unity, coming together, determining on what we have in common and not what we have dividing us. It's a first step. It's a great step, and we're going to march on this journey together. Thank you. At this point, the vote is open.
By a vote of 10-0, you have approved the resolution.
Thank you for all that participated today. Thank you.
Look at the wrong one.
Okay, moving on to number 10, resolution to approve the execution and the First Amendment of the Dome Site Development Agreement and establish a capital project number 100606, Atlantic Park Offsite Infrastructure, and appropriate $17,729,147 from general fund balance rate offsite infrastructure. Do we have speakers?
Yes, Barbara Messner is the first speaker. After Ms. Messner is Diana Howard.
Okay. Which item is this?
Number 10.
Number 10. I mean, when you guys pull this and put it back up, it's... All right, number 10. Resolution to approve the execution of the First Amendment. Yeah. First Amendment to me means free speech. To the dome site development agreement and establish a CIP, capital improvement project. You know, we used to have bids on this. This is taxpayers doing a project with developers. Atlantic Park Offshore Infrastructure. I mean, what is the final name of this? Anyway, and then you're acquiring property for more parking, you're taking away parking, and appropriate, 17,729,147 from the general fund balance. How can we have a balance when we have $3 billion debt and you just added a $500 million to that? And it's going to be a $500 million for the next 20 years. Ray, offshore infrastructure. Okay, that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Diana Howard. After Ms. Howard is Michael Culpepper.
Welcome, Dee.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Diana Howard. I'm the chair of the Virginia Beach Tea Party. And I'm concerned about the dome site development agreement and this appropriation of $18 million coming from the general fund, not the beloved TIP fund, but the general fund. We've already appropriated $100 million for it and another $9 million in FY year 2022. And now we want to add another $18 million to it. My concern is that after we've done all the subsidies and business incentives and everything to get this project going, it still hasn't, after, 2-3 years now, hasn't got financial backing on it. Why don't we wait until we have the financial backing before we do these infrastructure improvements, unless, of course, these infrastructure improvements are necessary whether we get the dome site project or not. I was, at the 5-year forecast today, and I was listening to that one speaker talking about all of the inflation and the prices of gas and cars and food and transportation and everything going up and its effect on, everyone. And he said, how we're going to have to pay the price one day with all this federal spending, all this debt spending. It's going to bite us in the butt one day if we don't do, what we need to do. And I like the way he put it. We need to reduce the rate and broaden the base, right? So I'm certainly up with reducing the rates because I tell you what, I hate that car tax. I'm never buying another new car until you get rid of it. So anyway, I'm just praying that when we have our new Governor-elect Youngkin and new Governor, Lieutenant Governor-elect Winsome Sears, that we have more sense in the Commonwealth to turn this, economy around here and do better. And that's all I have to say, and I wish you all a Happy New Year.
Hey, thanks, Dee. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, and a Happy Thanksgiving and Christmas. Looking forward to a new year.
Mr. Culpepper.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. My name is Mike Culpepper. I'm here on behalf of Venture Realty Group in support of the ordinance in front of you today. I would say that despite the fact that Ms. Howard and our team don't agree on all things, Ms. Howard has been extraordinarily courteous and polite and very good to me. And so I at least want to express that while we may philosophically disagree, I appreciate that we've developed a positive relationship that we have. She did make mention of the public infrastructure. I did want to make it clear that this is all indeed public infrastructure located in the public rights of way that are outside the physical boundaries of the project and were not initiated or requested specifically by the developer. And I did want to make clear that our goal was and continues to be to transform the dome site into the important project that it always was intended to be. This is intended to transform the resort in our city, and we are looking forward to hopefully succeeding tonight and moving forward to finalizing this project and delivering what we promised to the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all the speakers, sir.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Move approval.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Moss.
Well, first of all, I wish this was a itemized vote, because there's two pieces of this I would vote for, and there's one that's embedded in here that I would not. The part I like is the amendment dealing with capping our parking costs. I think that's mutually a good thing that we want to do. I realized while the off-site improvements aren't a requirement of the developer, I think we all would agree it's like buying a house and not putting grass in the yard. The house isn't going to look quite the same. So I think it really is a necessary and sufficient condition for the overall project. I never felt that this was the highest use of debt, but I didn't get to vote on the project because I had to abstain. So to me, it's a sunk decision about that. So my job here is to try to make it work as best I can within that. So that's why I worked with the city manager on trying to find a way to finance that $18 million that we needed, and we did, and I'm very proud of that. But the part part C is bifurcating and making two closures versus one. I see that as a shifting of risk that wasn't part of the original deal. It's just a fundamental difference. I don't fault anyone who votes yes. It's just not a public risk I can accept, but the other parts of the agreement I do support.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moss. Okay, anybody else in discussion? The vote is open.
By a vote of 9-1, you have approved the resolution.
Okay, the final item tonight, under ordinances and resolution to appropriate $54,366,605 in the American Rescue Act Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds, raise further community support and assistance.
We have one speaker, Barbara Messner.
Okay, I don't know if y'all are aware, but that monitor hasn't been on, so the people in the back aren't able to see anything. I keep forgetting to say it, but I was trying to look up to see some of the speakers, and I can't see them either because their backs are turned to me. Okay, which item, please?
Number 16.
Number 16, ordinance to appropriate $54,366,605 American Rescue Plan Act, CARES money, state and local fiscal recovery funds, raise further community support and assistance. I mean, the CARES Act money has been used for, you know, so many things. It's ridiculous. It's to pay salaries. It's, you know, using the schools, the convention center, everything for all these shots that some people don't want. And now you've canceled the ones for city employees, but the kids still have to take them. So, you know, my issue is, you know, the mismanagement of funds and thank you.
Thank you. Okay, do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Branch.
I'll be abstaining. I have a letter on file with the city clerk.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I may, pursuant to the State and Local Government Conflict of Interest Act, Section 2.2, TAC 3115, Code of Virginia, I make the following declarations. I'm executing this written disclosure regarding the City Council discussion and vote on ordinance to appropriate $54,366,605 of American Rescue Plan Act Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds for further community support and assistance. Among other things, the ordinance appropriates funds for a $1,000 bonus for full-time city employees, The bonus includes non-sworn employees of the Virginia Beach Sheriff's Office, but excludes sworn employees. I am a sworn employee, so I am not eligible for this bonus. I have a personal interest in the VBSO because of my employment there. Accordingly, I respect Madam Clerk, you record this declaration in the official records of the City Council.
Thank you. And Mr. Moss, you have a letter?
I do. I plan to submit it into the record, but make a few comments on my position. I don't think anyone really likes to be read to, and I know I don't like to be read to at presentations like today that we had earlier. But nonetheless, this reminds me of when people are in Congress and there's 95% of the things that are a bill that are good, but the leadership won't divide the question so that people who like the good part can vote yes without having to vote for the bad part. And the bad part isn't the bad part because it's inherently doing something, it's the process by which it was done and the lack of full consideration. The bulk of this money, all but $5,098,000 and some change, and $500,000 of it for a pilot program for a daycare center for city employees, were two items that were never substantively discussed in this body at any time when we discussed this. We talked about the parking lot at North Sandbridge. We talked about the mental health, and I remember the mayor asking if everybody what they thought about that, and the heads nodded. But the two items that I first heard about last Wednesday in a phone call from the vice mayor, I appreciate her calling, and she called and said, "John, I think I have some good news." Well, my first thing was, well, good. The good news is employees, and her words, not mine at the time, was a Christmas bonus. And those are words she explicitly used. And I said, well, great. Where's the bonus for taxpayers? Because taxpayers have had to work extra hours. They've worked at places with shortage of people. They've lost hours. They've had employment risk. They've had all those things. They didn't get 5% pay raises. None of those things that they've had in the last 12 months. So they're equally financially stressed. So where is the dividend for taxpayers? Well, there wasn't one. And my point has been, if we have, given all the things that the manager tells us that are unfunded, which we have a big list, if this is the most important thing to do, then we can have unfunded requirements, because we have quite a bit of cash on hand, and I delineated that in my letter, then we can give a dividend to taxpayers, because they're shareholders too, and it isn't always just pay. And then you have unity. This approach is, without any real discussion, because we had none, we are also having no prior notice. We are hearing it and voting on it on the same day, which we generally try not to do. I appreciate, Mayor, of trying to put money in people's checks before Christmas. I understand all that. But there ought to be, even if we're not doing it today, there should have been part of this, not part of this package, but part of this amendment should have been, well, what are we going to do as a dividend for our taxpayers? Well, I'm going to come back, and I've told you already ahead of time, to come back with a 2-cent reduction in the real estate tax rate that would be totally payable, and the reduction of what they owe on June 5th. So there's plenty of time to mechanically, because if we can do this for our employees, then we can do something for our people who pay the bills for everyone. Now, someone said this really wasn't a Christmas bonus. I didn't give that characterization, but it's for attrition. Well, if that's true, I am looking forward to the manager sharing with me the data analysis that said that for $1,000, you're going to materially affect and reduce attrition. I suspect that analysis hasn't been done. I suspect that data doesn't exist. So, and I don't have any issue with giving employees bonuses, but I have an issue of not recognizing that the pain that they're seeing in food prices, gas prices, rent prices, is the same influences that all our residents across the city are experiencing. And it's like we only can see the trees closest to us rather than the larger public suffering. And we should have had a discussion, Mr. Mayor, in my opinion, before we were voting today. And we should have had this as a separate item, since it was never previously discussed at length at this body and addressed as such, but that we should have made a commitment that we are going to give a dividend to our beach residents, though it may not be in time for Christmas. Certainly, we can't give $1,000 to every resident. We don't have that kind of money. That would be a phenomenal amount. But we can show that we understand that they're suffering too, and we're not indifferent to that. And within our physical capacity, we are acting on their behalf. Now, if we say that we have an attrition issue, and it's because of our compensation or other issues, then I would expect the manager would bring forth the analytical business case that would make that case. Because today, you may recall, during the session across the street, I said we weren't setting aside enough money in that 5-year forecast to deal with what I think is going to be the bill with our total compensation study. So my opposition to how this is being handled is not on the substance and the merit, but that we aren't being objective and treating everyone on a uniform basis on this, and we're targeting one set of our population over the group as a whole, and I don't think we were served well. I'm voting for this because it is a case of the small amount out of the big amount, but none of us should walk away being proud of how this was handled in any way, and all of us should be committed to making sure that we deliver a dividend to our taxpayers to show that we have as equal concern for the people who earn and pay the preponderance of our bills as whether the people that serve them. It is a team sport, and part of the team didn't get recognized.
Okay. Ms. Finley?
Well, I hope that it's very plain to all of our citizens that a good chunk of this money is going to our most vulnerable citizens who have great needs. We are appropriating of this $54 million, $15 million to the Grants Consolidated Fund within the, that will be provided to the United Way of Southampton Roads for VB Thrive, which is their overall plan for many things, including workforce development and other things. $15 million to the United Way. $10 million is going to a Grants Consolidated Fund, also provided to the United Way to be divided or given to businesses, business relief programs. Specifically, $5 million of that being set aside for the tourism, travel, and hospitality industry, and the other $5 million shall be made available for business relief for all other industries in the city. So that's $10 million that we are providing to the United Way to be given in grants to our businesses who show a great need because of the situation we're in. Then another $5 million is appropriated to the Grants Consolidated Fund that will be a grant to the Food Bank of Southeastern Virginia for mobile food services. So adding that up very quickly, that's $30 million of this $54 million. I think I added it right. That's over half of it that's going very directly to our most needy families and businesses in the city. And so I think we are giving a great concern to our most vulnerable people. And then there are many other things that are included here in much smaller amounts. But we did discuss, because I kept bringing it up over and over again, that we've been concerned about the workforce in other businesses, but we have great concerns about our own organization's workforce, because we have a lot of vacancies, and the vacancies are now getting to the point where it's affecting our ability to provide services, and that's not good for our citizens either. And so it's very important that we do something for the workforce that we do have that's stuck with us, to make sure they will continue to stick with us. And we are going to be having this market survey done, and that will be available in January. We'll be able to start to look at what the overall package we might need to do. But this is coincidentally coming just before Christmas. But it's a bonus that could be considered a retention bonus, or a bonus that we are providing to our employees because of the difficulties and situations that have been challenging during this pandemic, and I think it's very right that we're doing this. And maybe we didn't call it the right thing, that's semantics, but I think it's very important that of this American Rescue Plan money, that we do recognize our own workforce with this amount of money. We've recognized other workforces in other parts of it.
Yeah, Mr. Moss.
Well, I couldn't disagree more though I respect the view of my colleague, you notice all those things is we're giving cash directly into people's hands, and the other benefit, we're giving all the cash into government hands to decide who's worthy to receive it. I think when I'm out on the campaign trail, and I think it was reflected in the election results, is the people that are not poor enough to qualify for federal assistance or state assistance, but not wealthy enough or well off enough not to be suffering under the very policies that suffered, the people in the middle. I think they turned out in November and expressed that they're looking for change, and I think you heard that in the governor-elect's campaign issue. There's a huge difference between giving cash to an organization to decide who's worthy versus giving cash directly or leaving it directly in the pockets of the people that earn it, and they can decide how to spend it. So I would not equate those two at all. And I think if you're going to make the claim that you're expending public money to accomplish an outcome, whether it's staff retention, staff recruitment, then that requires analysis and reasoning that puts some data and analysis that tells you that when you spend the money, you're going to get a result for it. Now, I don't know about you, I did not see that in my Friday package. Maybe I missed something, but I didn't see that. But this isn't our money. You know, it's the people's money, and we owe them due diligence. And I shared all with you the Davy Crockett speech on the House floor. I sent that to you separately, talking about, you know, when he was out there trying to get reelected in Kentucky. Yeah, it was Kentucky. And this farmer says, well, I'm not voting for you. And he said, why not? And he says, well, you voted to give relief to that house fire that took place in the district. And just because it was visible and on your screen in front of your face, you bailed those people out. He says, but we have lots of fires in Kentucky, and no one in Congress bailed us out. So, you know, you made a wrong decision because you're spending my money in a way that you didn't show what the public policy outcome, you can't justify it. And I'm just saying is we owe that to the public to justify we're going to get a policy outcome, and we don't have that analysis. So you're spending money on faith. Well, I'm saying, well, if we're going to spend money on faith, I want to spend money on all 175-something households and give them a rebate because they're just as deserving. This isn't who's more deserving. This is about who's just as deserving. And I think we've missed the point, and to go through a litany of the money going to all these goods and say, you know, that's good enough for you, but other people get to spend the money how they want, isn't equivalent in any way.
Okay, anybody else? Yeah, if I can make a comment before we call for the vote. You know, we've had a good discussion tonight. We don't always agree, but, you know, I think ultimately we want the same thing. And, you know, if I can hearken back to the 90s when I was working on my doctorate in organizational leadership, we talked about an organization and what makes an organization effective and long-standing, you know, is how people perceived that they are treated. You know, salary is kind of one thing, but one of the most important things to the average worker is recognition. And our city manager is the CEO of a very, very large corporation right here in Virginia Beach, some 7,000 plus strong, and that doesn't even include schools, which puts us over 17,000. So a large chunk of, you know, I think we're the largest employer in the city. And I just think that a lot of the folks I see, I hang around with lawyers, I hang around with engineers, but when I'm in Wawa and Home Depot, I'm seeing the folks from Landscape Services, and I'm seeing a lot of folks. And I still remember a guy that was working and was getting medicine for his 4 children. And he probably really, you know, wasn't the top of the salary scale. Our employees have been through a lot over the last 2 years, as we have been. They hung in there. And when we go to, and when the manager and I do employee retirement ceremonies and stuff, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, they hang in with us. This to me is just an example of a reciprocal loyalty and a way to say thank you. And the thing is, and to Mr. Moss's point, I think the future is bright with the amount of economic development we're going to bring in and the higher paying jobs. That's how we can get the cost of the income in to the families that deserve it by providing it. So with that said, could we open the vote, please?
By a vote of 9-0, with Mr. Councilmember Branch abstaining, you have approved the resolution, or the ordinance.
Okay, appointment.
Yes, I think this is Mr. Branch's night. We're going to keep him very busy. We are going to appoint Mr. Branch to the Atlantic Park Community Development Authority, which we're all part of, to the Bayfront Advisory Commission, Mr. Branch, to the RAC, Mr. Branch, to the Advertising Committee, Mr. Branch, and the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization, Mr. Holcomb. Mr. Branch thanks you for taking that one.
I know he does.
And moving forward, to the Board of Zoning Appeals, Harry Perky. Reappointment.
Not junior now.
The Chesapeake Bay Preservation Board, Al Wallace. To the Community Services Board, Gail Colson, Carolyn Cox, Patricia Pointer. To the Green Ribbon Committee, Brian Large, Billy Allman, Jason Barney, Robert Verdon, Karen Forget, Chris Freeman.
Yeah, I know. John's gonna
To the Historic Preservation Commission, Timothy Oxman, Catherine Paulson, Sharon Prescott, James B. Wood. To the Oceana Land Use Conformity Committee, Taylor Adams. And to the Process Improvement Steering Committee, Billy Almond, and Mr.
Bloomwood
Branch's liaison. To the Public Library Board, our high school student is Elif Erdogan. That may have been all we got to today. Let's see. I think that's it.
Okay, vote is open.
By a vote of 10-0, you have appointed those as read by Vice Mayor Wilson.
Any old business? Mr. Moss, do we have any new business?
We do, because we have a Boy Scout in the house. Everybody knows I'm a huge, and come on up.
Come on up.
Come on up. Tell us the troop you're in. My eyes are so bad, you have to tell me the rank. I can't see, get closer, but, and your troop and who sponsors you?
What a bunch of merit badges, man, I tell you.
I'm Alex Sherman from Troop 791, Nimmo United Methodist Church. I'm here today. I'm working on a merit badge, so I decided to come here and just write about it.
The citizenship and community, I take it?
I'm doing communications right now, and you got to go to a meeting of some kind.
Great.
You earned that badge.
Oh, yeah. I think they call that the Red Badge of Courage or something. Yeah.
And where'd you go to summer camp last summer?
I did not. I went to Philmont, though. So.
Oh, I went to Phil. Yeah, that's great. Do you like it?
It was amazing.
Great trek. Anyway, we're glad to be here. You're in Scouts. That's a great, for girls and for boys, I might add, for ladies and for gentlemen. This scouting, so thank you for all that you do, and always be prepared.
Thank you.
Hey, by any chance, were you in the parade last Thursday?
I was not.
Okay, but I tell you what, thanks. And I tell you what, come on forward. I want to give you the mayor's pin, for just staying through the thing and working. Again,
Closest to the heart. The hand
I was a Boy
closest
Scout
to-
back in 1960, okay?
Yep, hand closest to the heart.
Hey, thank you.
All righty, thank you for being
Okay,
here
folks,
this evening. Thank you,
great night.
Dad.
Thank you. We are adjourned.